been following my channel since the start, so for the last 2 months or so, will know that over the last 2 months I've been doing the KonMari method, or the KonMari method, depending on what way you pronounce it. And I've been really enjoying it. So I've done many of the categories or many of the areas, and I still have a few more to go. And I suppose today to talk about what I'm doing or things with the KonMari method, I wanted to talk to you about the downside of the KonMari method insofar as I've experienced. So there's so many positives that I've shared with you throughout my videos, and I'll link my other videos down below, so if you haven't seen them you can catch up with them. But I wanted to talk to you about the downside of the method. So for those who aren't familiar with it, the KonMari method is a method of organizing and decluttering devised by Japanese professional organizer Marie Kondo, and she's written a book on the topic called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. So you can catch my introduction and so on below in the video, so I won't go into it too much. But basically the downside insofar as that I've experienced is you, as in me, is wholeheartedly involved in the method, in doing it, in maintaining it, and so on and so forth. But I'm not the only person who lives in this house. I share the house with my wonderful husband and our 3 pets. And my wonderful husband has been helping and participating in the decluttering of the sort of KonMari method. And he has been involved in pretty much every aspect of that. I'm very grateful that he's been on board. But where the downside falls in is that organizing was never his strong point before this. So after we've decluttered and reorganized and found a spot for whatever category that we're working on, he either forgets that we've relocated an item or can't be bothered to return it there, or decides to put it in a completely different area. So while you yourself might be on board with the KonMari method, it's hard to maintain and to sort of follow through if your entire family aren't involved in the process or not as invested in it as you are. The other major downside is that with all this sort of decluttering, which I absolutely love, you nearly need to schedule an entire other day or weekend to actually remove everything that you've decluttered. So in the beginning, I started, as the book suggests, with clothes and shoes and handbags and kind of jewelries, accessories and beauty products. So for a long time on our landing, I had 14 black sacks of clothes that we had decluttered and no longer sparked joy in us sitting on our landing. And eventually I had organized for somebody to come along and remove them for us, which was amazing because there was just too many for us to take in the car to the charity shop. We could have done it, of course, but it was just kind of scheduling. And the summer for me is an insanely busy time. Being a wedding planner primarily, my weekends are just taken up with weddings, and obviously my weekdays are taken up with work and so on and so forth, planning weddings and everything else that I do. So it was really difficult and challenging for me to find the time to actually remove those things from our house. Still upstairs in our spare bedroom, we still have 3 large boxes of books that we've decluttered. We also have some other kind of like random kitchen, bathroom and sort of other householdy things that we no longer want, all ready to go to a charity store or sort of some sort of donation place. But because I've never sort of organized or sort of in my mind plotted where they were going to go afterwards, they've actually just remained up there. So that's a major downside that we've experienced, is that decluttering the areas and sort of removing everything from your home is great, but the actual removal part is something else that you really need to plan or schedule into your sort of KonMari-ing as well. It's the one area that we have really sort of excuse me, I'm going to show, can you pan over there, James, and show what's going on? This is Ferdinand, our big tomcat, and he is currently trying to drink out of the tap. Ferdinand, you know better than to be up there. Get down, you cheeky monkey. I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to give him some water and disinfect the tap, obviously. Sometimes when you have pets, you just got to do these things. Oh, we've got no, let me just disinfect that first. There we go. Cheeky monkey. Huh? Who's a cheeky monkey? So, when you film live, so the one thing, or the two major downsides that I've experienced with the KonMari method is with maintaining it is making sure that your entire family are on board, and so that you don't get frustrated with them returning things to the wrong area or a different area, or just not being sort of involved after the initial process. And the second thing is to actually, when you're starting a category for decluttering, using the KonMari method, is to have an exit strategy already in place for those items. Or like me, you could end up weeks later and the items still being around the house. So they're the downsides so far as I can see from the KonMari method. Now there are so many wonderful upsides. I'm not trying to put you off with it, but it's the two things that kind of have been playing on my mind a lot. And I've wanted to do this really quick video about them so that you can see it from the other side of things as well. So if you've had experienced any other downsides or negatives to the KonMari method, I'd love to hear what yours were. If you can leave them in the comments below, if you've done a video on it, please do link it too. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this hasn't put you off doing the KonMari method, but just sort of inspired you to kind of think a little bit more broadly about it and to implement solutions for my downsides before they happen to you. Thanks again, and I look forward to sharing more with you very soon.